Hey YouTube, it's Adrian. Just before we get you to this video, do me a favor and head over to pageantlaunch.com. We are starting the world's first dedicated pageant review site, and I would love for you to join our launch team. All you need to do is put in your email address. It's completely free. We are looking to make a pageant industry that is safe, transparent, and fair. I know it's like that most of the time, but over the last year, it's become very evident that it's not like that all of the time. So head over to pageantlaunch.com, put in your email address, and let's get you to this video.
I'm Danielle Mignogna, Elite Miss Pennsylvania Earth 2020, and this is my interview with the Pageant Project.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. It's Adrian from the Pageant Project, and I have with me, wish me luck, Danielle Mignogna. God, I butchered that. Italian is up my strong suit. Elite Miss Pennsylvania Earth USA 2020. Danielle, do you want to just introduce yourself? Because I'm sure I butchered that horribly.
It's like a cruel game, right? My name is Danielle Mignogna. I'm Elite Miss Pennsylvania Earth.
Okay, all right. Over in the US, whereabouts are you at the moment? Are you in Pennsylvania? I mean, it looks amazing, just that little bit of sun.
Thank you.
I don't have any sun because it's 6 a.m, but whereabouts are you at the moment?
We fought for the sun today. There was this crazy storm that blew through. Right now, I'm actually in Baltimore on the harbor at a gorgeous hotel called the Pendry. And I'm meeting with them for my platform, No Excuse for Single Use. It's my commercial side of my platform. I meet with businesses, namely hotels, showing them areas that they can go sustainable, go green while saving money. And so I'm not only here about that, but also they're looking to start an apiary, potentially on their roof. So I'm working with their head chef since I am also a beekeeper.
Okay, so I do my research before interviews, and I have to admit, I've seen it, and I was watching an interview of yours on YouTube yesterday, and then I think I looked at your website where it had your resume on it, and I just was looking at it going, is there anything that you haven't done? So I think, why don't you try and start us with your life journey so far, all the things that you do, not just pageantry, just all the things, because there seem to be so many different, I mean, the beekeeper is a prime example, but you're an actress, you sing, you do all these other things, non-for-profit. So do you want to just try and sum up your life journey in a few minutes? Good luck.
In a few minutes. The greatest thing about life is that you can constantly reinvent yourself, learn new things, and that it's a journey, especially being in a pageant, that's a journey as well. It's hard to sum things up, but I would say the easiest way to start is that I was adopted. I was a baby when I was adopted into a fabulous family. I definitely won the lottery with them. I thank God every day. And just having a thirst for life and being brought up by a mother who has an extremely green thumb, it became a part of me. And now there's this amazing pageant system that I'm honored to be a part of that aligns so perfectly with my passions that this has just been quite the ride. And now the pageant is in January, so I have another 6 months to really, really enjoy the ride. And in the meantime, I definitely got my beekeeping license from Penn State University, which is something that I really hadn't announced yet because I was trying to get certain things off the ground before doing so, but I'm just so excited about it that I figured, oh, I'll let the cat out of the bag. So Italian honeybees are the ones that I am raising. And so they have the tastiest honey, and I think they're also the cutest.
Bees, one of those things that they say that if anything goes wrong with bees, like they're one of the first in nature, one of the first lines to get hit. So working with bees, I mean, what did you have to do in order to get your license? And I guess, is it true that if there's pollution or something, that bees are one of the first things affected? Like there've been sort of mass extinctions of bees?
Absolutely. There's colony collapse disorder, and part of it can be explained by pesticides, and others, some beekeepers say that they just disappear, they just don't come back. And that's not saying the whole colony, but it's a lot of them. And there's many different jobs that bees have in a hive, and they're mostly women. The drones are just around, the drones are the men. They're just around to help procreate, but the women are the nurse bees, the foragers, and the hard workers, and the queen. And so, when it comes to bees and dragonflies, they're one of the first ones to also disappear when the ecosystem is no longer healthy. We only have 5 years left and we lose 30% of our crops immediately. And that's our food.
Wow.
I mean, your local farmer, he relies on the bees. If you had plants only indoors, as soon as you put them outside, give it a few days, you see how much more healthy they are. And that's because the biotic and the abiotic species are helping your plants grow. And that's the pollinators, including the bees.
Just back up, biotic and abiotic. What are those?
Living organisms and non-living organisms that attribute to a healthy garden. So that's the climate, the sun, the insects, and the animals.
Right. Okay. Guys, I can see a bunch of you leaving comments. I'll just catch up with Danielle Mignogna to give us her background, her pageant background, and then I'll circle back around to the comments. So for those of you in the comments screaming, I can see you. I can see Zanny and I can see Sandal. I'll get back to you guys in a sec. And you also mentioned Miss Earth has been, so you probably should update us with that because it was originally in August, as I believe in Vegas. And so it's been changed now. Why don't you update us with that?
So it was just announced that we had moved the pageant, they had moved the pageant to January. And I have to say, this entire time, the Miss Earth organization and Laura Clark have just done an outstanding job rolling with the punches because, as you know, the coronavirus, COVID, has really shown everyone who's boss. And, if you had plans, they have had to change no matter what it is. So they've kept us in the loop, up to date, and every time I've just been thoroughly impressed with the calls that they've made and how easily they were able to, all right, this is the deal, now this is the deal. And so we have never been in the dark for this, and our safety is the most important, and they made the right call. Now it's in January in Vegas, and the dates look like they're going to be mid-January, like the 14th to the 17th, around there. It's not completely confirmed, but it is in January.
Of course. How do you feel about it being postponed another 6 months? I mean, in one way, you would have been getting ready for now, but as you already said, in another way, you've now got another 6 months. So how are you feeling?
It would have been this week, and we were ready. I was ready. So excited to meet all my sister queens. I mean, I've been talking to them online, following their journey, and even my sister queen, she was gearing up as well. We've been really, really amped. But now her pageant is virtual this month, August. And so we'll be cheering her on live, but virtually. And then she'll be doing the same for me in January. And, you can't complain. You really can't, because this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. And I'm so honored to represent my state and to have made the green team that I've made as far as VIPs and community leaders to get things done, to lobby for the environment, and to push my platform and get 20 hotels on board to pledge against plastic. And I've successfully kept 1 ton of plastic out of landfills so far. I'm on track to keep out 2. But that's in a normal economy. Not everything is open right now. This hotel, the Pendry in Baltimore, this gorgeous place, is only allowed to operate at about a 50% capacity. But as you can imagine, that's 50% capacity with a 6-foot distance. So it's technically 30%. So as much as I'm geared up to continue to make a difference and go compete, things need to happen first, safety and precautions. So, you just got to thank your lucky stars and keep going.
I mean, you're obviously passionate about the environment, and you mentioned that your mum was the one that had the green thumb. Can you give us an idea as to how, I mean, I will assume that it's your mum, but you can tell us how you got so passionate about the environment, and then all the things that you've been doing for the pageant, including your platform, which is no excuse for single use, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Very good. So as a little girl, one of my earliest memories was not only running around my Nana's rose garden, and she taught us how to prune those rose bushes, and that was in Long Island, New York. But my mother, after swim practice, we would take all of our recycling and throw it in the dumpster. And I always loved looking forward to throwing the glass jugs in the dumpster because you'd hear them break. And so that was a really fun childhood experience, was recycling. Who would have thought that that'd be such an exciting activity, because you get to damage something? I don't know. And then we'd drive home, and on the way home, on the hottest days of summer, there'd be some of my neighbors' plants potentially dying on their porch. So we'd get out and water them with our water bottles. And so my mom really made it an activity, and we didn't even notice that it was like a little fun game at the time. It was just life. It was life for us, and I loved it. And so now for
Sounds,
my platform,
yeah.
I'm sorry, go on.
No, I was going to ask you about your platform.
That basically started when I've had this amazing experience being able to travel the world as an entertainer, model, actress, and singer. And in the meantime, I've come across beautiful parts of the planet and unbelievably polluted parts of the planet.
Mm,
And last summer, I traveled to 9 different countries. And no matter where I went, it was everywhere. And I got home, and as much as I reflected on the beauty that I saw, I couldn't shake the trash. I couldn't shake the litter. And I just had to do something. So I looked up how to become a community leader when it came to the environment. And I found different ways that you could lobby, but then I found the Earth System, and I was like, holy cow, there's a pageant for this. This is awesome. What a great way to set deadlines and try to really push the envelope
mm.
to make an impact in a set period of time. And I was honored to be crowned Elite Miss Pennsylvania. And now with my platform, I have a zero waste home side where I talk to people in the comfort of their own homes, socially distanced online. On my Facebook page, I have videos to show them simple habits they can add. Week to week is what I encourage, but month to month, to lead a green routine. And now I have this green army that I've created on my page. And then a commercial side where I encourage businesses to go green and then show them how it also saves them money. Especially right now, it's really important for small businesses.
Of course. You mentioned that you're at a hotel at the moment, and you're talking to hotels about how to be more environmentally conscious and actually save money or make money in the process. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, so with hotels, namely, I have definite steps that I've outlined. There's about 13 different ways, namely gearing towards plastic, that they can go green, but I really highlight the top four. And the top four are the substitutes or options that they can choose that definitely take plastic out of the landfill, help them recycle, save money, but also affect our dinner plate. Because as you can imagine, it's a cycle, and whatever
Mm,
ends up circulating in the system winds up in our waterways, winds up in our air, and ultimately on our dinner plate. And we consume on average a credit card worth of plastic a year. That was pre-pandemic. Now that we're in a pandemic, our landfills are completely overrun with plastic because we've been led to believe by certain companies that it's the safer choice when it's
mm.
actually the most detrimental. So this is my campaign to continue running around telling people that this is actually not the answer, and there are definite substitutes for it. And one of my favorite ones to encourage them to do is either get more compostable plastic trash bags that can
Mhm.
compost very quickly, or there are plenty of hotels that throw away pillowcases that are just less than perfect. And I've been showing them how to put them in receptacles where I can gather their leftover soap and shampoo, donate them to homeless shelters, but the bag used is the pillowcase that they were going to throw away. And then they can just rinse it and reuse it. So no excuse
Well,
for single use.
Um, is there such a thing as sort of more biodegradable plastic? Because obviously previously it was just all plastic was bad. Now it seems to me people are talking about some plastic that is, I don't know if you would call it environmentally friendly, but I think you mentioned it just there, like plastic that does actually break down. Is there any distinction, or is all plastic plastic and we should kind of avoid it?
I really do think you should do everything in your power to avoid it, but there are some great technological advances as far as plant-based plastics, but we really have to watch out for greenwashing, which is when something may look like it's green, especially in the packaging. You know, they're getting
Yeah.
really savvy these days with marketing, but you have to really read the ingredients and know what it's comprised of. But there's definitely this organization that has approached me to be an ambassador, and I'm really considering it, called Cure for Humanity. They have a cassava root type bottle that will break down very, very quickly. So it's not meant
Oh
for
wow.
long shelf life. It's not something that, say, you can pack water in and save it for a rainy day. It will break
Yeah.
down, even with the water inside. But it is something for a temporary use that plenty of places, concerts, events
Mm.
that need these bottles, that is just a short lifespan, could definitely use something like that. So cassava root is one example. But again, you have to watch out where these things are coming from and how they're harvested, because now we're utilizing harvesting a plant which still utilizes fossil fuels in a way, unless our grid changes from natural gas to a
Yeah.
cleaner source of energy. So you got to be careful and still make the best choice. So a lot of that deals with research, but whether it's a pandemic and things are going on and people aren't doing research in order to know how to be the safest, or for the environment, or for sometimes the elected officials that are running, people really, really do need to put more energy into research to know what they're putting in their bodies and what's going on in the world.
I was going to mention research because there are so many different things that you need to research before you can actually say this product, yes, is environmentally friendly and this one is not. For example, if you have electric cars, people were told originally that was environmentally friendly, and then it turned out to make the batteries, it was coming, the minerals were coming out from a strip
Mhm.
mine somewhere, which obviously was very environmentally unfriendly. Um,
Mhm.
is there anywhere that's a good place to start researching? Because I'm just aware that a lot of people will go, oh my God, that's too much, and I won't be able to find out, so I'm not going to care. Is there a good place to start with your research so you at least can get a basic understanding?
I love that you asked that question. The greatest place, the easiest place to start, everybody loves watching a movie. Everybody loves Netflix and the streaming devices. There's so
Mm,
many great, interesting documentaries out there that all you have to do is search a keyword like environment or planet or plastic if you really want to get nitty gritty.
mm.
And sit back, pop some popcorn, and enjoy. You'll learn a lot. Truly, that's how I started. Is I just sat back and let my TV teach me, and then I would, wow, rare earth minerals used to make electric cars, let me look more into that. That's not good.
Yeah.
Oh, solar panels, not always the most renewable green energy, wow, let me look deeper into that. So you can find what really triggers you more and then do your own
Mm.
research afterwards.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds like a good use for Netflix, since probably too many of us are stuck to Netflix or Disney Plus at the moment. You mentioned that on average, correct me if I'm wrong, was it a credit card worth of plastic you said that we ingest per year? Now,
That was
I just
pre-pandemic, yeah.
Okay, I just know that there are some people who will go, okay, that's not that much, fine. For me to eat the way I want, a credit card worth of plastic is not that bad. I just know people are going there. So, in terms of the health impact it has on us, what are some of the health impacts it would have by just, in inverted commas, having a credit card worth of plastic?
Well, you can start by looking at the birds that are dying on beaches. And when you look inside their stomachs, baby birds or adult birds, they're full of plastic. And that can be us. I mean, granted, we're not swallowing giant pieces of plastic, hopefully.
Mm,
Hopefully, you guys out there aren't doing that. But
who knows?
toxins cling to these plastics. And so the children in our generations these days have 6 times more toxins in their bodies, in their bloodstream, than we do. And that's only going to get worse and compile as time goes on. The more
Mm,
plastics that are landfills, the more toxins will attach themselves to them in our oceans. And now our oceans are 50%, a ratio 1 to 1, plankton to plastic. And when you go up the food chain, guess who's eating that fish? Guess who's in the plankton? And then ultimately our dinner plate or our water. Our tea bags, some tea bags have been found to have 11.6 billion plastic microparticles. That's in tea. Seems
thank
really
God I don't
innocent
drink
until you
tea.
look at a tea bag. You're never going to look at
Yeah.
it the same, right? Which also, tea
Um,
bags aren't the. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to ask, because we have your advocacy, and then there's obvious steps that people can take at home. So, just from your experience, what are some of the easiest and simplest ways to start the journey towards being plastic free? Because very often people go, oh my God, if I have to cut out all my plastics, I can't do it. You just look at your cupboard and you look at all the plastic and you go, I couldn't give away all this. But what are the simplest and easiest ways for people to just get started so they can at least feel they're making a difference?
As long as you start, that's amazing because it's hard to get started. To procrastinate, it's so easy to grab something plastic these days, whether you're purchasing something or just around the house. But just reduce. Find something that you know you can either substitute or just get rid of, hopefully recycle instead of
Mm.
utilizing that plastic because it really is bad for you. Do a plastic audit around your house, see what you can substitute with better materials. And I encourage starting in from room to room because it can be a little daunting.
Yeah.
And I like to especially get rid of the plastic in the bathroom because, as you can imagine, that's really where a lot of the toiletries are comprised of the plastic packaging.
Yeah.
And so I did a live earlier this week showing how you can go plastic free even with your beauty products by creating your own and making them a solid bar. So there's no plastic bottle there. And if it'll go all the way down and you'll get rid of it and then it's rinsed away. Just make another. And in fact, I bought a 8-pound block of shea butter soap base. So it's going to take me a while to go through that. So also buying in bulk is a great way
Mm.
to get rid of plastic.
I would also imagine you save quite a bit of money on cosmetics and makeup if you can make your own.
You not only save money, but it instantaneously you see a difference in your skin, a difference in your hair, and it makes everything easier. Instead of using products to fix things, all of a sudden you're like, wow, this is how it's supposed to work. This is how I'm supposed to feel. I get it now.
Yeah, it seems sometimes that we've sort of distanced ourselves from the environment a lot, and we're kind of out of touch. Danielle, just in terms of your pageant journey, can you give us an idea as to your pageant history? I normally start with that, but we got onto the advocacy, which is fine. What about your pageant history?
So I definitely started by competing in the USA system. Oh, feels like forever ago. And I was encouraged by people in my community to go out for that because I had been avid working so hard with charities. And they're like, well, you do what they look for. So why don't you try it? And I had already been
Mm.
modeling. And so I did. I bought a gown, I got on stage, and I had no idea what I was doing. But it was quite the experience. But I tell you, even with being a model, actress, and singer and feeling, the castings, you don't always win the job or,
Yeah.
you get those rejections. A pageant, not winning a pageant was a learning experience, learning how to gracefully not win. And so I
Mm.
was like, wow, this is amazing. And I was competing against people that have been doing it their whole life. And I was like 23, I think I want to say. And so I went back to modeling. I really, really focused on that because I was like, wow, that was a ride. Um, and I modeled all over the world. And then I was like, you know what? Let me try this again because then I found a system that was all the way into charities, like really about platform. And I was like, that
Mm.
seems like what they were encouraging me to do in the first place. So I went out for that. I did pretty well. And that was Miss Delaware United States. And I think I was top 3. I forget which placement exactly. It might have been the third one. Look, I don't even know the perfect
The
terminology.
memory,
Like,
the memory goes. It's a long time
yeah,
ago.
it's a long time ago, guys. Don't hate me for that. And then I really, really enjoyed competing in that system. And that was run by Laura Clark at the time. And like
Right.
just red carpet all the way. Like all the I's were dotted, T's were crossed, completely impressed. And
Mm.
so then International Ms. Came to be a thing, and that was a lot about women entrepreneurship. And I was like, wait, that's
Yeah.
also me and my charity. So then I competed for that, and I was honored enough to get the title of California. And at the time, I had then moved to California and I was acting out there, and I was an executive board member for a charity as well. And that went really well because I placed somewhere in the top 5, I think fourth runner up. Don't quote me, guys. It was a
It's
while ago
okay.
too. And then, life takes a hold of you again. And I really steamed forward with charity and acting, modeling, and singing. And then, like I said, after last summer, I just could not shake the litter that I saw
Mm.
everywhere, all over the ocean, especially in the Galapagos. I was like, I'd been really looking forward to spending good money to travel the world to see the
Yeah.
beauty of the world, and we're destroying her. We have to do something. And so now, steaming forward with trying to break into people's minds to show them, no, we're not separate from the environment. We're completely a part of it and we can
Mm,
save it. We can absolutely save it. Just look at what we've been able to fix in the meantime that we haven't been driving so much or flying so much,
mm.
you know? We can save the planet.
That was scary when Corona hit, and a lot of us were stuck at home and couldn't travel, couldn't go to work, couldn't go out. And you sort of saw very quickly, in some cases, how Mother Nature repaired herself. I think there was a photo, I can't remember, it might have been in Italy or Venice, where there were canals. And within like 2 or 3 weeks, the canals had gone from basically muddy brown to crystal clear blue green. And I think that was really a wake up call for myself to go, wow, that's how quickly Mother Nature can repair herself when we're not intent on destroying her. Just in terms of pageantry, because obviously you've got so many strings to your bow, what is it that you think that pageantry specifically has added to your life or given you in terms of skills that maybe all the other things haven't? It might be very difficult to separate, but what has pageantry specifically given you?
Many things. I can't say enough nice things about the pageant journey, and it definitely is a journey. But one thing I really enjoyed cultivating the most was being able to accurately communicate my opinion in a more elegant way than I had in the
Mm,
past. I've always been a very passionate person, love to talk about the things that I'm working towards, but I'm much better now at formulating sentences and being able to get my point across also in a much more refined way than a more opinionated way like before. So,
mm,
working with all of these fabulous women that have been my interview coach, I have them to thank for that. And then the pageant to really push me in order to put it to the test. That's one of the most exhilarating parts. Not being on stage is normal for me, but
mm.
being able to
Yeah.
speak my own mind and use my own words is not something that I get to do often because I'm usually reading someone else's script or putting on someone else's clothes, and I'm basically hired to be the canvas for the artist instead
Yeah.
of pageantry. I'm able to be myself and talk about what makes me move.
Yeah. So, having said all that, what part is your favorite part of pageantry? Is it one of the onstage parts? Is it the interview? Like, which part for you is your favorite?
I love swimsuit because it reminds me so much of when I lived in China and I was modeling on TV for a TV show. And so that was the biggest runway I'd ever been on in my life. And it will probably be the biggest that I will ever be on
Mm.
because the SIUF show in China is their version of Victoria's Secret, but it is
Oh, wow.
billions and billions and billions of people and dollars bigger than the United States. And I was the first year that they were allowed to hire foreign models instead of just keeping it an Asian market. They definitely
Right.
made it much more international. So it was this insanely extreme experience of being thrust into a culture and living there for a while, learning their language and trying to get by. But I mean, you're in a rehearsal. As soon as I landed in Hong Kong, I was being spoken to in Mandarin, and then on a bus, all of a sudden I'm rehearsing and I don't know left and right. I don't know what's going on. I'm just gonna here, okay, she's turning right. And then it got to the point where my name became a joke because they couldn't say my name, much like people can't say my name in English, they couldn't say
Yeah.
my name in Mandarin
Guilty.
either. So I had a number on my hip that was 32 because there were 32 supermodels for the TV show. So they would just call me Senchiar. Or if I got something wrong, like left or right, then Senchiar, ha! And so I learned very quickly that 32 was my new name, and I also knew the tone in which I was doing something wrong.
When you say you learned the language, is it Mandarin that we're talking about?
Yes, I wish that I could practice it a lot more in the United States, but being over there in 2014 and this summer, I got to practice it a lot more. But you lose it. It's such a language that you have to keep up on. So, but Zanny, I'm sure he's here because he's always
Mm.
following me around on my lives. He's like one of my favorite people to see show up. He'll always message me in Mandarin, so we'll message back and forth. But he's trying to help me practice, so I appreciate that.
So you still, because I know Chinese, but the flip side of it, which is Cantonese, which is the language that's spoken
Cantonese.
natively in Hong Kong, whereas Mandarin, Ironically, the two languages have exactly the same written language, but they just say it completely differently, so they cannot understand one another. So, can you? I don't know. Can you say something in Mandarin? I won't know what it is, but it'd be impressive. Just say something in Mandarin.
呃，那个男人喝一杯红茶。
I heard eBay in it. What? What did that mean?
Uh, that lady over there is drinking red wine, a glass of red wine.
That's an oddly specific phrase to know. I won't ask how you came up with that one. Okay, so
My inflection, just FYI, my inflection is probably really messy and probably a number of other things, but hey, you asked.
it's very difficult to get Mandarin or Cantonese right because for those of you watching, I'm not telling Danielle because obviously she'll know it's a tonal language. So if you go up or down at the end of a sentence, it makes the or end of the word, it completely changes like a completely different word.
I just realized that I just realized I said cha and that's tea. That's not wine.
That's true. Yes, that's. I just heard you say eBay, so I thought that the sentence was about eBay, but clearly it wasn't anything to do about eBay. But I don't know if you know, do you know the origin of Chinese whispers? You know, when people are sort of gossiping and they say it's Chinese whispers. Do you know the origin of that?
No, I do not.
No, it's because, as I just said, Chinese is a tonal language, right? So you need to know whether
Right.
it's going up or down. But when you whisper,
Correct.
you have no tonal inflection. So that's why you can't understand Chinese when they're whispering, technically, because you can't tell when they're whispering whether it goes up or down. That's how Chinese whispers actually came about. So there you go.
Gotta be a
If you've
tough
ever
thing.
wondered. Yeah. I'll catch up with the comments because I've been ignoring them. So Zanny is watching. Here we go. So he said you're in Maryland now. Cool. Sandal is also watching.
Oh, hi, Senda.
And she's also said loved reconnecting with you again in pageantry. Yeah, Zanny here. Zanny has said ni hao ma. I know that much.
Yeah.
And oh, eBay means a glass. Okay, all right. I just heard
I
eBay
would
and thought
see.
it
I
meant.
got that one. I got that one.
And Zanny has also said in Mandarin there are four tones. Yeah, there's up, down, there's flat, and then Zanny, look, I butcher Chinese horribly. I'm really good at hearing it and understanding it, but when I speak, I get really dirty looks because I always pick the wrong inflection. I
Hey,
went
you
to a
and me both. You and me both.
you can be very careful because you can insult people. I went to a Chinese restaurant and they asked how many at the table, and I thought I'd show off, so I said six in Cantonese, and I said it with the wrong inflection. And when you say it with the wrong inflection or the inflection that I use, it basically means take a roll or like fall over, like sort of just die. And he looked
Oh
at me with
no.
a very dirty look, and then I just said yes, six. That was the last time I tried speaking Chinese in public. Just so
Six
you know.
in Mandarin, I believe, is Leo, right?
I don't know Mandarin. Can you count to 10 in Mandarin? I can do it in Cantonese. I can't do it in Mandarin.
1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。Yeah, something like that.
I think you got to 9. I've had multiple people try to teach me how to speak to Mandarin, speak to 10 in Mandarin. I can never do it because the sounds are so different, especially 4. San, and then that one. Like if you tried to spell that in
Su.
English, I would have no. Yeah, I can't make that sound. How many languages do you
You just
speak,
kind of let
Danielle?
it
Just out of
drop.
interest. How many languages do you speak?
So I speak a lot better Spanish than I do Mandarin, believe it or not. And that's another language which I wish that I could practice daily more. But I sing Italian opera, Spanish opera, French opera, and a number of other things. I sing in Mandarin as well. So I like to say that I can read and pronounce things close to perfect, but I might not always know what I'm saying. But I can sing a beautiful tone, and other people can definitely understand what I'm saying.
That's all that matters. Let me just catch up with
I'm
the
here to
Suzanne is
entertain.
Zania said huge difference between Mandarin and Cantonese. Yeah, I mean, as I said, I can
Huge.
understand Cantonese, but I can't understand a word of Mandarin. Danielle, as I said, I like doing my research, and I was digging through your photos. So, just as a fun little detour, as you said, you like to entertain. I'm going to bring up some photos that I found on your Instagram. None of them are incriminating in any way, but maybe if you can give us the brief story as to what was happening in the photo. And there's some interesting ones here. So I'll add that, and hopefully you can see that now. So,
Okay, so this is me as Glenda, the Good Witch, in an original Wizard of Oz written by Donna Swajewski. And one of my favorite moments in my life was when I had been cast as, in her original titles, that she would remake these fabulous princess musicals. And you know what's funny is when I first went out for musical theater, I auditioned for the evil queen in original Snow White, written by Donna. And I had been walking around my house the whole day in this like slinky black dress, wearing 6.5-inch heels. And I was like, I'm ready for this evil character. And I walked up on that stage, and Donna goes, how do you walk in those heels? And I was like, one foot in front of the other. And she goes, okay, go ahead and read your part. So I read the part, I sang the song. She goes, that's good, but now I'll read the part of Snow. And I was like, Snow, like the princess? She goes, yeah, just read it. I was like, well, I didn't prepare for that. She goes, no, it's okay, just go ahead and read it. So I read it, and she goes, okay, great, we'll be in contact. The very next day, they offered me the part of Snow White, the princess. I was doing my ultimate like evil queen, and they saw princess. So from that moment on, I had been cast, and I think
evil very well then.
I don't know. People probably don't agree with that either, because they loved me as the princess. They loved me as I was the fairy godmother, as you could see, the Good Witch, and like 15 shows after that, I'd been constantly cast as the protagonist or the princess, none of which were evil queens. And I still, to this day, I message Donna. I'm like, you got any parts for me? And she just laughs, because I guess I'm just typecast as a princess constantly. When the evil queens that she wrote these parts for weren't like scary evil, they were diva evil. They got the best songs, in my opinion, and had the awesomest like one-liners. Just the audience would be roaring in laughter. And whether it was like their minion or their wizard that would just, kiss their feet, just like, oh, I loved every single part of their character, but I never had the opportunity to be evil yet. So, to anyone listening.
Interesting, as a pageant queen wanting to be the evil one rather than the princess. I think that's interesting. You want to keep it varied.
Well, it's you want to put your feet in someone else's shoes, and as an actress, you really want to stretch the boundaries. And so I just figured that that's definitely a part that I would love to play. I want to be the diva evil queen.
Sounds good to me. What about this one? Can you tell what this one is?
This photo has such an amazing story. So in China, I had landed, I went to my first rehearsals, and after the first week that I kind of got my bearings as to where we were situated in the hotel, which was this gorgeous Taj Mahal looking hotel in Logan City. And but the village was made to look like Venice. So it was like the Taj Mahal in the middle of Venice. Like there was moats and everything was gorgeous. I swear. And so I walked around the hotel just in awe. I was like, wow, I can't believe we're some of the only people here, because they had only just opened it. So we were the first ones staying. And I heard music in a back room, and I was like, interesting. I haven't heard, American music in a long time. It's been 7 days. That's the longest I'd been out of the country by now. So I go to the room, and I hear Adele, and it's a lady singing. There's producers around, there's cameras, and she's singing Adele, and they're writing on this clipboard as if they're judging her. And I was like, I can sing that song. So I walk right up to him, and I'm like, can I sing? And I point to the mic. He goes, you sing? I said, yes, I sing. He goes, okay, what song? I was like, that one. He goes, okay. He played it again. I sung it. And next thing you know, that was the audition to be the entertainment. Like I said, SIOF is the Victoria's Secret of China. That was the audition to be the entertainment for the runway show. And I won. I won that job. I
You're
walked
basically
the show
the
as one of the
equivalent
models.
So you're basically like the Ariana Grande or the Taylor Swift on the VS runway.
It was hilarious. I walked, very serious model walk. As soon as I got to the backstage, threw on this red dress. My hair was still in the ponytail because that's the only way they keep it. Sang a song, and the audience was looking at me like, wait, didn't we just see her? And so I sang a few Beyonce songs and Jessie J, ran back off stage, threw the dress off. I still had my next outfit on underneath, and then got right back on and walked. And this was during one of those songs. I think this was during Halo, Beyonce Halo.
Wow. Okay. Well, that is one hell of a story. Let's move on. This is why I thought it'd be interesting for you to talk us through the photos because there's so many different photos. Is this the same one?
No, this is in LA. This is LA Fashion Week. And this was during Nicole Miller's runway show for, I think it was men only, actually. And they had these amazing background dancers behind the screen, and they're live dancing behind me. And so
Mm.
I'm singing one of my original songs, actually, on that stage. And then I sang a song, I think This Time Around was another one that's a cover. It's a little bit more classical, but then there was this song in that same outfit where it was like a pool party song, and it's just like, come on, people. And they wanted me to sing my version of it, but I didn't think that I did it justice enough. So I sang part of it, and then we lip synced the rest because it was this like amazingly like belting woman just shouting
Mm.
into the crowd like, come on, let's go. And I was like, the part that she yells, let's just let her do that and I'll say it myself. And so then I started riffing off of it too. So it was like I was singing and lip syncing at the same time, this one song that they were like dead set on the vision of the swimsuit show for me to do.
Mm.
And this is the song before that, because that song I look very different with like facial and my hair, I'm like whipping my hair around for that one. But
Yeah,
that was
this
an
one
awesome swimwear
you
show.
look quite serious in this
I
one, or
was
maybe it's just the
I was
photo.
strutting.
You were
I
strutting.
was
That's
strutting
a
in this one, yeah.
very sparkly top you've got on. You look like you're wearing a disco ball.
It was completely metal. It was only metal. Very cold, by the way, very cold.
Well, probably not as cold as this lovely gentleman in the background because he's
Yeah, he
not
was probably
wearing much.
freezing. He's
Um,
not wearing shoes even.
no, he's it's good for the guys to know what that actually feels like. Okay, what
So
about him?
this is at the Austin, Texas Grand Prix. I believe you know that this is Gerald Butler. And
Yes.
I was on the paddock side, I believe, of the track, not the pit lane, but the other side behind where the teams are. And there's like hospitality booths where they can go from their pit stop garage to walk across this road, which
Mm.
is a service road inside the track to where they can chill. And there's like food and drinks for them to relax and meet with their team. So I was walking to a different hospitality from the Pirelli room, and he was walking past me. So I think he complimented my sunglasses, which at the time I had forgotten to bring mine to the track. So I just grabbed the first pair I saw in the airport, and it happened to be actually a men's pair of Ray-Bans, which I didn't
They
realize.
they do look a bit too big for your
They're-
face.
And I used to forget sunglasses all the time, so I just have random stories of sunglasses in airports. So he complimented my sunglasses, and I was like, they probably look better on you, but can I get a selfie? And so he took a selfie with me. And I was tempted to give him my sunglasses, but then I was like, no, I'm going to keep these as a keepsake because he likes them.
I was going to say you could have like traded the sunglasses for the selfie, but you got the selfie anyway. Okay, there's a couple more. This one.
Same race, I think 500 yards apart. And and I think I was just beaming so much of meeting Gerald Butler that I felt confident enough to chat up Ramsey. And I was telling him that at the time I had just left my job as an assistant chef, chef's apprentice for a catering company. And I also told him that I really loved his Christmas turkey that he had posted not too long before this photo. And he was like surprised that I knew all the ingredients. And so then I asked him for a selfie, and he just thought I was so funny that he like He's a head taller than me, but he like
Yeah,
crouched
he's like
down and made this
6'4"
really,
or something, isn't he? Oh, 6'2", 6'4". Like he's very tall.
yeah, he's giant. But for the selfie, he was like mocking me and my height, even though I'm still tall. But he was like,
Mm.
and took a selfie with me. So it was just a
He
grand
does.
old time.
Now that you say that, it does look like he's kind of squatting down with his.
Oh yeah. It's a live photo, and so if you play the photo, he's like making faces and everything as he's talking to me.
Okay, this photo, which
Oh,
your
show and
caption for
tell.
this photo was, it was your rental. So do tell.
Yes, this actually was a rental, and this was a race in Italy, and I can't remember which one this is, but this might be Luso, and it's raining, and I wasn't very happy about it raining. I don't know if you could see my facial expression. I'm not very thrilled,
I
but
thought you were just
um,
concentrating. It looks like concentrating face.
yeah, because the rally that we were on, we were going around these pretty windy curves, I think close to Rimini at this point in Italy, and you don't want to hydroplane and swing and hit. As much as like Ferrari tires are amazing,
Mm,
when you're going a certain speed, Mother Nature will show you who's boss as far as
I've
inertia
done that.
goes.
It's
So
very scary.
I'm I'm concentrating very much so on how fast the car is going in front of me, when their bright brake lights are going hard to take the turn, and what I need to do. And I had just gotten the wheel at that point, so I was like, why does it have to rain now? But it was still an unbelievable experience. And it's not, if that's the Mille Miglia, I believe, it's not the Mille Miglia until it rains. So, it had to rain when I was behind the wheel.
Oh, there you go. You got the authentic experience then.
Hmm.
This one. Now,
This
this
was
to me looks
this
very
was
familiar.
can
This
you guess?
in the background here.
This was this past summer, actually. I had just landed in Sydney from American Samoa. I didn't stop in New Zealand before jumping to Sydney because it was wintertime over there, and I had tried to
Cold.
pack mostly carry on, and I was island hopping around the world. So I was like, I'm not going to bring a parka just for 2 nights stop
Mm,
in New Zealand to break up the flight. So I took
yeah.
like a few hours extra, flew into Sydney, and this is at the Shangri-La, and I had this
Oh, wow.
amazing
Yeah.
room with the view of the Opera House, and I just needed to take that picture, but I didn't feel like wearing anything. But, I'm awake, I'm jet lagged, I'm going to drink some coffee and take this selfie. So that was one
Shangri-La.
of,
The Shangri-La
yeah,
is it's still there. Did you go to the bar at the top?
of course I did. They
Okay,
have
I was
this
going to say.
afternoon tea. If you're going to travel, you got to do it right, Adrian.
Well, I was going to
So
say, but
there's this,
you may not have known about that because there's a lot of people who live in Sydney who don't know about the bar at the top of the Shangri-La. And whenever I have tourists, like visitors, come over, the one place I take them to is that Shangri-La bar.
that's the best place to take them, honestly. For that panoramic view, it's much
Mm,
higher than my room at this point, and you see all of Australia. I mean, from beach to beach to beach, and the boardwalk, the cliffs, the bluffs. I mean, gorgeous
mm.
view. And the food also looked gorgeous for that afternoon tea time. But I was on my way back to the airport to go to Bali, so
I
I
was going
didn't
to
get
say,
to
what do you mean
partake in
it looked gorgeous? Didn't you actually eat it? Or you just looked at it?
No,
Oh,
I
that's a
didn't
shame.
have time, but I will be back there for sure. I'll be back.
Let me know. Let me know. I'll probably be there as well. I've never tried the food there. I normally just end up having the drinks there. I've never actually tried the food, but I'm sure it's amazing.
The Shangri-La does a fantastic job. When I stay there, I usually like to do the part where, what do you call it? The hospitality portion that includes breakfast. You don't have
Hmm.
to eat anything else for the rest of the day because there's so many different options for you to have. It's
You
just
just
a nice one-stop shop.
fill up on breakfast, and then you're good for the day.
Yeah.
Is that? Yeah, that's it. All right. So that was a show and tell. So there was some interesting stories there. Dana, you also reminded me, just you mentioned about the singing, and you said that you have a single, right? A single dropping. Is it tomorrow? I don't can't remember what time it is for you now.
So it's supposed to be on Sunday, and
Hmm.
so as you, if anybody out there has experience with releasing a song, you can choose a release date with a distributor. And so I chose Sunday, and I just got this information from the distributor that COVID strikes again and their warehouse is closed due to the pandemic.
Oh,
So
okay.
it they might release it on Sunday or it might be another 5 days, but they're not telling me for sure. I did get an email, like, it's
Okay.
just one of those things where everybody's anticipating for me to finally release my music. My family
Yeah.
has always heard my originals and they love them and my videos, but this is the first time everyone else will get to enjoy it. And it's like, you might have to wait. No, you can wait. No, you might have to wait. It's like such a roller coaster. It's been an uphill battle, but I wouldn't change it for the world because I had a vision when it came to the
Mm.
music video for this song, and I ended up teaching myself how to edit on Final Cut in order to get
Oh,
it
don't do
right.
that.
And I'm
So learning how to
so
edit videos is such I mean, I did the same because I have to edit all these videos, so I taught myself. It's not pleasant having to teach yourself this. It's I don't know how you
Yeah,
found it.
it was not the easiest thing.
No.
I admire you for using Final Cut for all your edits because boy did my computer teach me that my RAM was not enough. So I like bumped it up
Hmm.
5 times and we'll see for the next music video because I plan on releasing one song per month leading up to the national pageant in January. I've written 6 environmental songs so far, but I've written
Yes.
another 7 albums worth of other pop and reggae and material.
Albums.
Yeah,
Seven.
yeah, 7 albums worth of music. Literally just living in my phone, waiting for the world.
Wow.
So,
Okay. Well,
yeah.
you're not short on material then, that's for sure. So when will you know? Will you kind of know when your single releases at the same time as us, and it will suddenly just be there, like it'll be out
Yeah,
there, or?
it, it's supposed to be Sunday. Sunday it'll technically tomorrow the pre-order button should go live on like iTunes and Spotify and all these different things. If that doesn't happen tomorrow, I wish I had the answers. This
Whenever it comes
pandemic
out.
is making us
Yeah.
all just, hang on. Things will
So
happen.
I,
So,
I imagine that you'll post obviously on your socials, but just so we know, if we wanted to look it up on, let's say, iTunes or Spotify, do we look up your name or do we look up the title of the song?
yes. So you can look up my name or you can go to my Elite Miss Pennsylvania page or my website, daniellealora.com. I make sure that anybody who is looking in different areas will always find what they're looking for when it comes to the art that I create. So it'll be out there and you'll be able to find it. It will literally be on every single music platform you can even think up. It will be on every single form of music, whether you stream or purchase music. I didn't make this music to get rich. I made it because I had so much fun making it. This is like melodies that have been in my head that I just figure I should share with the world. And so it's going to be out there for everyone, free or purchase it, whatever you feel.
I've interviewed a few singers before I did the pageant project, and they always said they kept their phone around, and whenever sort of a jingle popped in their head, they would keep their phone because they literally had to sing it then and there, otherwise they'd forget it. Are you the same? Is that you just sing the jingle into your phone?
I'm similar, except I'm a little bit more odd because I write music when I'm sleeping. Like, there's this like sleep slash wake state that I'll be in, and all of a sudden I'm writing a song in my head. And so I will sleepily roll over and grab my phone and like sing it as best I can into a memo. And then I'll wake up the next morning and go, was that a dream or did I really write a song? I forget. And then it'd just be like me, like really, really tired, half asleep, singing the song into my voice memo, hook and everything. And then, I'll try to figure out a good kind of background beat to go with it. Next thing you know, I was gone.
You, you mustn't get a lot of sleep. And if you've recorded 7 albums worth and they've all started with you singing or writing whilst you're asleep, you obviously don't
Yeah,
sleep very much.
I really don't. It's essential oils are really great for the face, so is coffee scrub. I have this tutorial on my Elite Miss Pennsylvania page showing you how you can reuse your coffees, the coffee
The
grinds,
grounds.
and
Yeah.
use it on your face. And the caffeine wakes you up a little bit. The rose oil helps a little. So does the honey and things like that. So,
Oh,
you
wow. Okay.
gotta give your body back what you took away when you're slaving away at night writing music. And Post-it notes are my best friend for that. I use the wall. I reuse
Just
my Post-it
imagine
notes though, and then I compost them.
that your room would look like sort of the diary of a madman. It would just be post-it notes and random singings when you wake up. That would be interesting.
there's
I've never heard of anyone
there's this
doing it whilst they're asleep.
my father, when I told my dad that, I was like, yeah, last night I wrote a Father's Day song, so wait for next year. And he goes, in your sleep? And I was like, yeah. He goes, oh, there. He mentioned someone famous that also did that. I don't think he said Paul McCartney. I think he said something else, somebody else. But I was like, well, they're really good, so I'll take it. I'm not crazy. I'm just talented.
That sounds like a disclaimer at the bottom of your album. That should be the name of your
Right, because
album.
when it was happening, I was like, this is so weird, but I might as well write it down or, sing it into my phone. So, because you try writing it down, but then you wake up and you're like, what do these words mean? And what was the melody? You lose the melody. So you really do have to sing it into your phone. Otherwise, it leaves you forever.
I think the melody from the little part that I know that I've experienced with music, I think the melody is the more important one. The words, you can sort of substitute words in and out, but the melody is, I think, what grabs people. So if you have a good melody pop into your head, I think you need to grab it even if you are half asleep.
That's a really
But
good
that,
point because I mean, you name a sentence, it's been said before, it's probably
yeah.
been sung before, but the melody is everything. The melody is what people copyright.
Well, exactly. I mean, you think about like really famous songs like Queen, "We Will Rock You." All you need is, the stomping and the clapping, and you already know what the song is. So I think it's a melody that impacts us the most, more so than the words. Now, just Daniel, we always finish with the same 10 questions, but before we get to the final 10, is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to, or just say thanks to for supporting you along your multifaceted journey, not just necessarily pageantry, but all the bits and the tangents and the dead ends and the roundabouts, all those things.
Yes, complicated life, right? There's
Yeah.
so many people. If I forget anyone, know that I love you, but definitely my family who have been so supportive over everything that I've ever wanted to try and just encourage me. I think that's one of the biggest things is the encouragement from the people that I love and my friends that are behind me, especially Crazy Diamond Studios. They were first my friends and then they started a studio, and now I just feel so at home writing my music in the comfort of their home, and they're moving to a new home. It's a farm now, which will be really cool to write music in
Wow.
that grotto. To the Patel family, the Shaw family, and they really helped me bring my vision to life as well. I had definite ideas for what I wanted to wear in the music video, which wasn't regular clothing. I was wearing objects. I was wearing single-use items as
Mm.
clothes, as the fashion.
Oh, wow.
And I had the idea of what I wanted to do, but I'm not a seamstress. So they definitely helped me put it together. And to Ava Fleece for the amazing photos during my entire reign. I'm still getting amazing compliments over them. I think they're so timeless and so well done. And to Liz Martin, waking up super early in the morning for me whenever I need something. If I'm way too tired, I'm not a morning person because I don't sleep very well. So, because I'm always working on something. So Liz has definitely helped me look a little bit more refreshed, especially today. And so, let's see who else. My amazing director, Terry. I have her to thank for she's not my director. She's like my best friend now. Like I can call her any moment. She'll pick up. She's there. And, you can talk to this woman about anything. She is just, I don't know what I would do without her. The role of being a pageant queen can be really daunting sometimes because
Mm.
when you're in the spotlight, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. And,
Mm.
you don't always want to just tell anyone about it. So she's just been unbelievably great director, and I don't know what I would do without her, especially this year, because as you can imagine, this is quite the year. And
Yeah.
so thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Terry. Huge shout out to Terry. And anybody that's ever looking to compete in a pageant, if you have Terry behind you, you can do anything. I'm telling you, she's amazing. I can't say enough nice things about Terry. I love you, Terry, if you're watching. And last but not least, Shantae. She will be competing for Miss Earth USA in about a week from now. And so she's prepping for that. And I love her so very much. She comes out with all these awesome videos on how to upcycle clothing without a sewing machine. How cool is that?
Oh, wow.
Literally, you can take, oh my gosh, you have to watch her videos. Go to Miss Pennsylvania Earth's page and learn learn how to do these things, because I'm sitting there trying to cut and tie, and like I made this awesome fringe vest out of a shirt that I've never worn in my life, and it's just been sitting in my drawer, and now I'm wearing
Oh,
it around
wow.
the house. Like, such cool crafts, especially right now that you're home. So definitely check out her page. Love you, Shantae. Really looking forward to cheering you on virtually.
And I should just say, if you have forgotten anyone, then you can mention them in the comments below, because
I will
there's
definitely do
always
that.
there's always someone that you forget. Okay. All right. Well, final 10. Here we go. So, 10 questions. Number 1, what is your favorite word?
I find myself using the word serendipitous a lot, and it happens a lot in my life that, just unexplained coincidences, just great timing, and the opportunity is there, and you thank God for the moment, and the
Hmm.
serendipity is just so beautiful. So I really, really love the word serendipitous.
Question 2, what is your least favorite word?
Failure. Because I feel like if you're even going to speak the word into existence, it's like it echoes through your mind, and no one
Mm.
needs that. You don't need those vibes. You don't need to even tell yourself, don't even speak the word, because it's not necessarily that you failed, it's that you're learning, and it didn't happen to you, it's happening for you. So
Mm.
move on, keep going, because if you remember your why, there will be a future for you, and there will be a yes. So I don't like the word failure.
Well said. Question 3, in life, what gets you excited? What turns you on?
I love learning new things. That's probably one of my most favorite activities. Like when the world was shutting down, I was like, oh gosh, what can I learn right now? I'm going to keep bees. And so I signed up for Penn State
Okay.
University's beekeeping license. And so definitely learning something new, because it takes you on this new path, and you never know who you're going to meet or what you're going to learn about yourself along the way.
Question 4, what turns you off?
Hmm. If someone wants to give up, because I really haven't ever seen a really great reason to give up other than your own words and your own mind. And
Mm.
times are hard sometimes, especially right now. I mean, Final Cut, for instance, how many times that program closed on me in the middle of me trying to create this amazing music video. And it's like, and then I caught myself feeling for the first time in my life, like, I should just give up, throw in the bag, maybe post the video just like that, distribute it.
Mm.
And I couldn't, I had a vision and I needed to stay the course. And no matter what, I was going to get through it. So don't give up, because it's just maybe a few more system crashes and a few more sleepless nights later that your vision will come to life.
I tell anyone who's editing video, your friend is always going to be Control S or Command S. It's like every minute, anytime you make any sort of edit, just save, just save, just save. Because a number of people who I've talked to who do an hour's work and then lose it is that can really make you cry. It's not a pleasant experience at all.
Yeah, so
Question
then you go
5.
through the pain of rendering just to make
Oh,
sure that
well,
you're saving, and then that time. that time's given up.
You're bringing up all my pain. I have a custom made PC here, and literally the highest priority was to stick as much RAM as humanly possible in that thing specifically for
Oh,
rendering. And I can tell you it's a godsend, because even though the computer's like a few years old now, it can still render because it's got the RAM, whereas everyone else has got these fancy things that, you try and render a video and the whole thing just dies and gives up. And I'm like, oh, it's
how
so
much
sad.
RAM are you working with? I wonder.
That's 32. So
Wow, yeah.
448 for like a big, actually kind of look like Ferraris for sort of, anyway.
I
Next
bumped
time
up
I
to
will,
32.
next time I do one, I'll be bumping up to probably even more, because that's what you need for making videos. So I'm glad that
Yeah.
someone understands the pain of rendering videos, because believe
Yeah,
me,
it's
it's
painful.
sometimes when you're rendering, you're literally holding your fingers going, please work, please work, please work.
Next time
And
you're
then
frustrated, call me. I'll talk you through it.
it won't be a call, it will just be a rant. I'll just be yelling down the phone, swearing. It won't be a conversation. Believe me,
We're
because
in this
sometimes
together.
my videos are so long, sometimes I leave them to render overnight. So you're looking forward to seeing the finished product when you wake up. And then you wake up and it's gone like, oh, I died overnight. Like, not me,
Yep.
but the computer died overnight. Like, okay,
Breathe.
all right. Yeah, I've forgotten what I'm doing here now. Okay,
We're in
question
this together.
five. Question five, what sound or noise, this is always an interesting one to ask a musician, what sound or noise do you love?
Love. It immediately makes me think of the Caribbean, where when you're just driving around and you randomly hear a rooster like cock-a-doodle-doo in crazy random times of the day. And it's like, of course, we're in the islands on island time. The roosters are waking up whenever they want. They don't have anywhere to be. And you just hear these random
Probably
roosters
drunk.
cooing. And that just makes me like, they go crazy on the top of their lungs. It's like, it's 4 p.m. in the afternoon. You're just waking up now. I'm glad I'm awake, but hey, and it makes me laugh so hard. So I love that sound. That or the coqui frogs that at night they just like surround your, like if you're anchored in the bay, they're all around you in the hills and it's just like coqui, coqui. And it's so cute. I love them so much.
Oh, wow. Okay. Question six, what sound or noise do you hate?
Hmm. I don't really like ringtones. I'm a phone on
I don't,
vibrate type person.
I
I
don't think
just think
anyone
it's so
likes ringtones.
disruptive. Okay, so this is interesting. I absolutely love the sound of an organ because I grew up with my father playing a Leslie Hammond organ in the house, especially when dad's like in a great mood or it's a holiday. All of a sudden, you hear a crazy scale going up and then new blues chords that he just thought out of his mind and improv on the organ. And I love that sound. But his ringtone is an organ, and it's the loudest ringtone you'll ever hear in your life. You will hear it 3 levels away in the house when someone's calling him, and I'm just like, I hate to say that might ruin it for me, but it's like the loudest thing you'll ever hear. I just wish that ringtones were mostly on vibrate so that you can not be as disrupted. But I'd love to be live organ disrupted in life, but not on a ringtone. Love you, Dad.
I'll have to look that ringtone up. I could use a loud ringtone.
I'll send you a
That's
clip.
an unusual one. Thanks, thanks. Question seven, if you could have any one superpower, what would you pick and why?
I definitely want the power to heal. And whether that's healing someone's health, like an ailment, or a
Mhm.
broken heart, or the planet, I want the opportunity to heal because we are so far down this rabbit hole now that, health wise and environment
Mm.
wise, that, unless we start to put on the brakes, we're going to have another disruption later on in life as far as a planet crisis. And if I could just be, Miss Captain Planet, I would love to be able to heal, whether it's people or the planet.
Sounds good. Question eight. This will be an interesting one for you. What job or occupation, other than your own, would you most like to attempt?
A farmer, definitely. If I could wake up every day with a tune in my head and go out there, water some plants, and fill my own belly and everybody that I love around me every day. That would be so cool. I think I was looking up some big machinery earlier today of like how they get it done so successfully, and it's mind blowing. Just in order to prep the soil, make sure that you're reaping almost everything that you sow in order to get it done, and then do it all over again for another season. And
Mm,
it blows my mind because in India they only have one harvest, and whatever food and money they make one time in a year, they must carry them through the entire year, food
mm.
and monetarily. So they've become extremely savvy on how to stretch the dollar and how to feed their family and their extended family. So I think it's really super interesting as to how they get that done, and we can learn a lot from them as far as that goes too, because those villages are extremely sustainable. Their trash bins are like this big, and it takes them a month to fill something like that up because they are
Oh,
eating
wow.
what comes straight out of the ground, and then it goes back into their soil to compost to create richer soil for their next food.
If you wanted to be a farmer, though, you'd have to become a morning person.
I think there's technology out now that that can help me with watering the ones that need watering before I wake up.
I
Self-watering.
thought I thought by technology you meant, yeah, coffee. That's the technology that will help you become a morning person. Uh, Question 9. What job or occupation would you definitely not like to attempt?
Being a garbage man. I don't want to have
Why
to
is that
deal with.
such a popular choice? I think that's the
Well,
most common
my
choice for fashion girls. Garbage
my
man. I'm
my
not going to do it.
platform my platform is no excuse for single use, and I would probably loathe every minute of my life that I come across a bottle or food that shouldn't be thrown
Mm,
away, that should be regrown into something else. I would just
yeah.
be so overcome with frustration, like, didn't they learn anything? Like, haven't they watched my videos? I'd be leaving my card or little hints as like links and stuff for them to learn. Like, hey, by the way, from your neighborhood garbage woman, check out this link. Like, oh, recycling company, interesting. Oh, discount coupon, nice. Passive
I know you
aggressive
know
garbage
about
woman.
the I know you know about the giant plastic islands that have formed on the ocean. Have you heard about fatbergs?
Fat bergs?
As in icebergs, but made of fat.
Unfortunately, I have not. But I do
Well, I
know
don't
that
know summer. I don't think it's
3% of
unfortunate.
icebergs are comprised of um, a certain part of something that penguins leave behind because they can't melt. I do know that.
When we get off this interview, look up fatbergs, literally like icebergs, but just fatbergs. They are the in sewerage systems because you talked about garbage people. That's what made me think about it. A lot of the fat that we get from fast food just congeals and it blocks up the
Uh,
sewers and becomes fatbergs. And a lot of actually the plastic gets stuck in it as well. And because plastic doesn't decompose, you end up, and I think the biggest one was in the UK. It was several hundred tons. They're massive. They clog up the entire, and they don't look great either. But plastic plays a
you
large part in that
definitely
as
just
well.
taught me something. I'm going to have to definitely look that up. And I have to say that's unacceptable. That's just
They're all over the
another
world,
reason why fast food industry has to definitely change their ways.
and it's become worse during Corona because people are eating more takeaway. So all the boxes and stuff go into places where it shouldn't. And I think we had a
Single
massive one
use.
just down here in Melbourne. Yeah, yeah, and they look ghastly. And there are people down there whose dedicated job is to get rid of these fatbergs, and it takes a long time because it's just all congealed. Horrible
Boy.
mess. So there you go. Fatbergs. Final question. Yeah, this is a very random segue after that. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Wow, what a question. And I know I've heard you ask this question before more than once, but that's quite a question. I would say I would definitely want him to be excited, smiling in some way, probably say something quirky to not only, great, I made it to heaven, but wait, that means I'm dead. but also, hey, where's my grandma? That's what I would ask him. I'd be like,
Mm,
hey, where's grandma?
sounds good to me. Well, Danielle, that's just about it. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. I absolutely had a fantastic time. And I'm going to look up
And
fatbergs right now.
don't eat before you look it up. That's all I'm going to tell you. You won't like what comes up. I'll keep you on the line for just a sec whilst I hang up with the audience. You've had a couple of
Thanks so
people
much.
jump on late. You've got a Melvin Tan saying hi.
Hi, Melvin.
He said, "Nice to see you live." And someone here is saying hi to Zanny. So we've got a little conversation going on in the comments, and there's a load of comments there. So I'll
Love
let you
it.
go through them in your own time, Danielle. But I'll keep you on the line, as I said, for a sec. I'll hang up with the audience. Thanks for watching, guys, and we will speak to you
Bye.
next time.
No excuse for single use.
Hey guys, it's Adrian again. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and remember to head over to pageantlaunch.com and join the launch team for our pageant review site. All you need to do is put in your email address. Thanks, and speak to you next time.